Hey, everybody. Welcome to Android App Addicts. This is episode 588 of the Android App Addicts podcast on Podnutz.com. This episode is brought to you by Tom, aka TL Big Nerd, which I can say you might have the best Gmail address I've ever seen in my life. Active Patreon since November 2017. So I will say thank you again for all the support, Tom, throughout the years. People like you encourage me to keep moving forward, keep pushing out content, keep trying to do my best. I'm gonna do my best. I am joined this evening by Josh. How's everything going, my man?
It's going well, Dor. Yeah, I just started a fire for the first time the other day in the wood stove. Starting to get a bit of frost some nights, so it's all downhill from here for 9 months.
Yeah,
Canadian winter.
it seems like when I'm getting older, it seems like the temperature is changing quicker, and then it refuses to go back.
Yeah, yeah, that's a just everything starts to lock up a little bit more in the body, elbows, back, knees.
Yeah, teleworking made that much less of an issue, but now at least a couple days a week, I got to go out, start the car early. Fun times.
Well, I went on a e-bike ride with my neighbor. It was the first time he had gotten on one. And so we went for quite a haul and went to a pub for lunch in a nearby town and then rode back. But we rode probably 200 yards, no more, 300 or 400 yards on the train tracks,
Mm.
the abandoned train tracks. And it just beat the living crap out of me. And we also dropped a tool bag for one of the bikes and didn't realize it till we got home. So then the next day I decided I was going to follow that same route, but try to go faster. And I'm still sore, man. It just destroyed my lower back. So that's when you know you're getting old.
Yeah, and yeah, train tracks not fun. Um, Even if you're just walking, it's not fun. But on a bike, I can only imagine if you don't hit that perfect speed, or you spend your whole time like a long haul truck driver just bouncing all over the place.
Yeah, absolutely. How you doing, man?
Getting by. I don't know if I mentioned this last time, so I'm gonna mention it again. And by last time, I can't believe it's already been a month. I thought literally it was only like 2 weeks since we did a show.
Yeah, you and Ivor did one. I thought that was only a couple weeks ago.
Well, when I went into the date thing, it said, here's all the free apps for 9/29. I was like, oh crap, that's literally almost a month ago. Okay. One thing that I don't know, you guys know it changed. I basically uninstalled Android Auto, reinstalled it, um, and rebooted my phone. In hindsight, I want to say it was like over 2-3 months since I rebooted my phone. Android phones are like Windows computers. Once in a while, you got to reboot.
Yeah, absolutely.
So because I got to the point to where I said to the wife, "Look, I think I need new Android cables. I need new cables in the car because I'm plugging up my phone and I'm literally getting the message on my phone saying the quality is not the cable quality is not like sufficient." So I would literally plug it up, turn the phone upside down, plug it up, flip the phone, turn, and I did that literally like half my trip for like a week, trying to get the phone working, OCDing completely about it. She gets me the new cable, I plug it up, same problem. I'm like, this is no, no, no. So I literally first clear the cache, clear the storage, then I uninstall the app, and I say, screw it, let me just reboot the phone too. I plug the phone up. 2 seconds later, the screen's up with Android Auto up and running.
Oh, nice.
So it's like, so she asked me like literally like 5 days after that. So do you need a new phone? Oh man, I'm gonna make this one work for as long as I possibly can.
Just for
That
you, honey.
yeah. Well, it's going to justify my next purchase because I feel like my next purchase is going to be a $400 to $700 phone.
What are
Is
you
what I'm.
looking at?
Really, I'm not looking at anything directly. I literally might pull the absolute hypocritical move and buy a foldable Samsung phone.
Nice.
Only just so I can have the experience under my belt of saying I've messed with a foldable phone, for a length of time. I will say just the other day, one of the, I think it is Show Me, models of phones just became a global phone. Might have been that one. So there is now officially worldwide two brands, not counting Motorola because nobody counts Motorola. Type of folding phones. So I'm just going to hold off as long as I possibly can, and it might be literally it might be another OnePlus just because 9 out of 10 times my experience with OnePlus devices are they are superior in nearly every way, especially health and robustness of the operating system.
Well, can you write a phone off just using this podcast? Not to get into your finances or anything, but
Technically, I don't even need the podcast. I can just write it off for work.
cool. Write me one too.
Okay, sure. Because what I do is I give them my phone number. They call me one time, and then I go into their systems that they don't know I have access to, and then I change it to my home phone number.
Sweet.
Just so the next time they call me, I don't answer.
Yeah, as far as the cords go or the wires, the thing I've run into that the most is with Raspberry Pis. It seems like every Pi I have connected to a monitor, it just feeds down like insufficient power source or whatever it is.
The lightning bolt on mine flashes a lot. Yes.
Yeah.
There was
just keep going.
Right. There was another Android related thing that I know I wanted to mention. That I meant to mention for a while, and now I cannot remember what it was, except for I also nuked because I was thinking one of my slowdown issues might have been my launcher. I was using the very text heavy driven launcher. I can't remember the name of it now, like AWE launcher. And I just went to a more flat, plain launcher, thinking that would help, hoping that would help. Also, the wife asked me if I needed new earbuds. I also told her again, I'm fine right now, primarily because I don't listen to music. Literally, it's just spoken word things. So I really don't need quality headphones or earbuds. My oldest son, on the other hand, listens to a lot of music. He asked for some moderately priced earbuds for Christmas. And my wife, being my wife, she just didn't even flinch. She just bought them for him and told him, they're for your Christmas gift. They're Raycon earbuds, the kind that you see, YouTube people being sponsored by.
Yeah.
If they can afford to pay a YouTube sponsorship, they're obviously charging too much for their product because they can afford that. I do have a little bit of Android-based news that I will say I find extremely interesting. Put the link in the live chat. And again, if you guys want to hang out for the live chat, super easy. Follow us on Twitter, follow us on Facebook, follow us on YouTube. I forgot to send
Discord.
Join Discord, and I forgot to send an email to Christian. Damn. Because I told him I'd try to send him emails when I go live. This I found interesting for a couple reasons, Josh. RISC-V celebrates upstreaming of Android open source project on a RISC-V port. Basically, AOSP is officially supporting a RISC-V based processor board. To the layman's, all you got to know is this isn't Intel, this isn't AMD, this isn't Qualcomm, this isn't a Samsung Exynos chip. This is none of those things. This is a completely different breed called RISC-V. The difference between RISC-V and every other board that's ever existed is everything in the heart of the board is completely open for anyone to copy, emulate, modify on their own. It is a more simple based type of a processor, but Android open source supporting this means there actually could come a time where we who choose can buy an open board and run an open version of Android with no binary blobs on it that we don't know what it's doing. To have a true ecosystem board environment that we can truly call our own, where we don't have to worry about the normal and air quote Android exploits, nor do we have to worry about big brother manufacturers keeping our stuff up to date.
So just to summarize, firstly, the AOSP that you mentioned is the Android open source project, and they're, I mean, are they the ones that maintain the kernel, basically, like maintain the operating system of Android?
Kind of. It's kind of like the similarities. Sorry, kind of like the similarities between Chrome and Chromium. Um, they're not that far off, but one has a lot of proprietary stuff in it that Google uses to do their bidding, if you will.
Okay, so the AOSP would be Chromium,
Hmm.
and then Android would be Chrome.
Yeah,
Okay, so it's the base layer, the minimal viable product,
right.
and then so they're going to be supporting RISC V, and so that means that the RISC V processor will be or can be put into phones, and it'll be supported.
Right. What I'll say is, Android is based off of AOSP, the Android you and me know on our phones and our tablets. The Amazon Fire tablets and Fire TV stuff is all based off AOSP as well. Also, all of the Oculus Quest, Oculus Quest 2, Oculus Quest Pro are all Android operating systems. I'm sure there's more of them out there that I can't think of right now, but that's what AOSP is. It is the core thing that other people can base their own things off of. Um, so yeah, what Risk V now hypothetically is what I'll say is we could see Android put onto a Risk V thing, but likelihood of it being on a phone is nowhere close to a timeline, maybe 8 to 10 years. But for now, where I could see it being is on the lowest level smart appliance, if you will, either a washing machine, dishwasher, refrigerator, 3D printer, something like that, where it's just the base Android operating system with a couple clicks you can click around to do things, and not much really more than that.
Yeah, so embedded products, mostly IoT devices.
Yeah, I would definitely think so. And there's some pluses and minuses to saying that. Pluses is it should be much easier to code for, where you have a much larger audience of code to look at, to copy from, to emulate, to piggyback off of. The bad is hopefully um, it also means that it might be susceptible to a lot of like low grade Android type exploits.
Hmm. Well, that's I know that you seem to be a pretty big proponent of Risk V or Risk 5 or however you said that you're supposed to say it.
I know. I always get it wrong. I believe it's Risk V. Well, here's the reason. Here's the real reason I like it. It started out, I want to say, in the 80s, where a college professor said, "Look, I'm teaching a class on how computers work. I cannot explain to these new students how these processors work. They're too complicated. So let me design my own processor up out of thin air." And for like the first 15 years, it was literally just a teaching tool, where other teachers saw it and said, "Oh, well, yeah, well, don't forget this, don't forget the OR gate, don't forget this gate, don't forget this, don't forget that." And then they kept just building upon it, to where like 5 or 6 years ago or so, someone said, "Look, this thing is so verbose. Why don't we try to actually make one and see if it works?" And they made one, and it worked. And then it worked so well. Um, um, e- Efficiency of power versus output is what I'm going to say, is how it works so well that they said, "Well, why don't we take this further? Why don't we take this further?" Now there's more than a couple companies that take the Risk V architecture, and they put like co-processors that are closed sourced next to it to do the heavy lifting of math and stuff. And we're going to see more and more and more of these products coming out, especially with this, in air quote, chip shortage that actually isn't happening, but I digress.
Yeah, I mean it's a pretty amazing story. You just come up with a proof of concept for a class and then design something better than, or I mean better, quote unquote, um, than what is being commercially produced.
Yeah.
I'm supposed to say Bitcoin for Ivor, who's in the chat now,
Ah,
and Red's in there. And if anybody wants to say hello. My dad's in there as well. So
Hey. Yeah, another like news related thing I want to talk about, and the real reason I want to talk about it is because this is one of those things that Ivor has kind of been asking for months, if not, it seems like it's been months, and that is Firefox is finally going to let users install in air quote any add-on or extension onto your mobile Firefox browser. I will say there is just a little bit of a caveat. And that caveat is on your base operating system, you have to create what's called a collection of your extensions. So hypothetically, I want uBlock Origin, AdBlock Plus, LastPass, Sponsor Block, and Gitpocket. I would have to make a collection of those on my desktop computer when I'm signed into the Firefox ecosystem. Then I go to my mobile device. I have to log in again to the Firefox ecosystem, and then I can download and install my collection of add-ons. I'll say right now, I'll take it any way I can get it. Because I need these extensions on mobile devices. So many of these websites, I just click on a link and then I'm sitting there for like 3 minutes swimming my way through ads trying to find the content.
yeah, I know you get spoiled by the pie hole as well. I find, and then I was using Brave for a long time, and so they've got a pretty robust filter for ads also. But I've switched just over the last couple of days to Firefox on my phone and on my laptop. I just to try something new. I felt Brave was getting slow, and I'm sure that's because all the crap in there from me. But yeah, so give Firefox with some side tabs a try.
Yeah, that, and I will say, Firefox has, but now it's also called Firefox View, where if you're logged into multiple devices, you can much in a much more simpler fashion see tabs open on another computer and say I want to open them here, kind of thing. I will say on mobile, I still use Smart Cookie web browser and another web browser I can't remember that do insane levels of blocking. The bad thing is once in a while I access a site and the browser just crashes because it's being too forceful when blocking ads.
There's one that I'm on a wait list for, which is called the Arc browser, and it's apparently completely rebuilding. Like they set out to add some features to a browser, and then they realized how broken the browser was, and decided to just build one from scratch.
Yeah, I want to say I saw one of them less than 2 weeks ago where they were building a browser from scratch, and I can't remember which one it was. That's what I'm going to say.
And I don't remember the details. I heard a podcast where they were talking about it, the Syntax FM podcast.
Gotcha. And thank you for reminding me. That was the other thing I wanted to mention. There was two. Okay, there's already one official Google podcast that's been out there for a little while. It's called Search Off the Record. They're literally talking about the ecosystem of people who define what search is, how search works, what's the algorithm, what's SEO, insinuating, none of that crap actually works. It's all a gimmick. But another brand new podcast from Google is literally called Made by Google. With all of this stuff happening here in the last couple weeks, the new Pixel devices, the new Nest home devices, the new Pixel Watch. I do believe they also just updated their router hardware as well. It looks like Google wants to be taken seriously as a hardware manufacturer. And if you want to know lots of the ins and outs or the people that are working to make the hardware possible, it's literally just called Made by Google. To me, one of the best things about it is because it's an officially sponsored podcast by an official company that's making bank, you're not inundated with ads. I'm just saying, it's kind of ironic that the company who makes its money off of ads has a podcast with no ads.
Yeah, they know how terrible ads are.
That, and I'm sure they wouldn't do it right, and they would like clip into people's voices and stuff.
I'm finding there's a lot more ads in podcasts. There's I think Acast is one of them, but several hosts now have ad injection. Like they were
Mhm.
working on trying to figure that out for a long time, and now it just seems like a lot of podcasts are jumping on board for that. So you get 3 ads at the beginning, 3 ads in the middle, and then another 3 ads, and usually the same ads at the end of it. And I've stopped listening to some podcasts just because it's so difficult to bear.
Oh yeah, I've literally dropped, I want to say 10 podcasts in the last 2 months because I just got to a point I'm tired of skipping. I'm tired of fast forwarding. Did you hear about the Spotify controversy though?
Which one?
This is just how scummy of a company Spotify is. They decided that they're making so much money off of ads, selling ads. Well, how can we increase our money on ads? I know. Let's put out these games or like pay these games to basically play 3 seconds of a podcast, and we're going to call it a complete pay for podcast and jacking up listener numbers to like the nth degree.
Yeah, I
Um,
think it's 15 seconds. I think if 15 seconds is considered an entire listen.
yeah, and I'll just put it like this: whenever there's money involved, you know what I mean. Whether it's ads, whether it's professional sports, you know, whenever money's involved, a police when you're a policeman pulling over people, confiscating contraband and money, the temptation is always there. Well, if I just do this one little thing, just this one little thing, they won't notice at all. Um, it isn't like I don't want to say I don't blame Spotify, but this is why I don't trust other companies to have my platform on it without my express written consent. I've literally emailed now in the last like 2 years a dozen different podcasting things saying, take my stuff off of your network. It is not, no, it is not welcome on your network because quite literally, because you have places like Spotify, they don't even ask you. They just host your stuff. They insert ads into your stuff. They make money off your stuff. And I'm just sitting here like looking at the cat, looking at me, looking at the cat, you know?
Well, yeah, and that's one of the new tags for podcasting 2.0 is the locked tag, and you can actually set it to yes, and the hosts are supposed to bypass it and not host it. And then you can also, I believe it's an array, you can have an array of exceptions or an array of blocks. So you can actually have Spotify, Amazon, iTunes, whatever, and then it'll it's just, if they if they follow the standard and go by the actual tag, then it should stop all of them from hosting your content.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
But
Gotcha.
I mean,
Out.
are they going to? You know, they could get these dodgy ones like Acast, not to call them out, but are they really going to adhere to that? Do they care?
Oh, does anybody? I mean, it's just like the um, uh, robots TXT. Does any company actually adhere to the robots.txt file web servers have on their root saying what is scannable, what is searchable, and what is not? I mean, I've never seen a company pay attention to that.
Yeah, probably not.
So it's like, it, yeah, I would say things like the podcasting index were the first step in ripping authority away from people. Where
Absolutely.
we need like 100 more steps.
Well, it's a big one though. For anyone who doesn't know, the podcast index is an open index of over 4 million podcasts. And so normally you would have your podcast on Spotify and Apple and they would have their own indexes basically, or they'd all pull from Apple's index. But now this is an open alternative where, I mean, it's open source. You can download the database or you can copy it and run your own index if you want. So, yeah, the decentralized way to store all of these podcasts and not have them behind paywalls and proprietary software.
Yeah, and they are doing one thing right. They're making it very clear. The pod catching applications are the ones who need to pick up on this, not people like, the normal people. To them, it should just be a invisible layer that we use and we access when we open up our podcasting app and say search for.
And a lot of them do, and a lot of them are, like even with podcast addicts, which I still use every day. You can choose between the Apple index or the podcast index.
Right. And speaking of choosing not to, this is going to be my first app. Because what I'll say is we not only need to focus on what we need to do, but we also once in a while need to focus on things that we shouldn't do. There's lots of habit trackers out there that their sole purpose seems to be pushing you to do the right things, making sure you do the push-ups, making sure you eat healthy, making sure you go to bed on time, making sure you put the phone down enough hours of the day, kind of thing. How about we try to focus on things not to do is what I'm going to say. And there's an F-Droid app literally called TO space DONT, to don't instead of to do. I just found it and I said, it just does the point. It's a very simple, clean interface. I'm going to say this honestly and frankly, some things on F-Droid look like they were made by a sixth grader. This isn't
better than we could do, is what you're saying.
Let me tell you something. Whenever I make something, my coworkers are all like, they just look at it, they're like, "You did that, didn't you?" I'm like, "Yep." and then the one person said, "Why?" And then they said, "Look at it. It looks like a child made it. Like there's no curved edges, there's no gradient colors. It's just hard text and bad." So this looks better than the average app is the way that I'm going to put it. It does have dark mode if you insist on having the dark screen mode. Very easy to stay on top of your progress. It's much faster than grabbing a pen, which I will say that's a controversial statement there in the app. Not as controversial as Herschel Walker saying never mind, let's not go there. But it's a good way to keep track of bad habits not to do is what I'm going to say. To don't over on F-Droid. Because it's F-Droid, don't really see any ratings. Version 1.8 added on October 10th does require Android 5.0 and up, so you could literally put this on like a 12-year-old device and it'll probably work just fine.
Under permissions, it says that the only permission that it needs is rocks.poopjournal.todon't.dynamic receiver exposed permission.
Yeah. So it was originally a poop journal that they decided midstream to convert to be a to don't journal.
Oh, midstream. I get it.
Yeah, exactly.
And Ivor's still in the chat whining, which is better than him whining on the show, I guess. But he said, I bought this app a couple months ago, man. So it's on F-Droid, so you can't buy it. And Ivor, it's brought this app. I think there's an R in there, but maybe not in New Zealand.
Not New Zealand. Well, I guess that's why it sounded familiar.
Yeah, right. I noticed one of the links that you sent, or that you had, was the Gorilla Mail.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm kind of interested. I don't know how far you went with this, but it's basically. Well, not basically. It says quickly receive anonymous and temporary mails. Does this work?
I will say yes, but it comes with a caveat because just like anything else, just saying yes or no is never giving the complete story. the main reason I brought this app, I put it in my list, is I couldn't believe we didn't talk about it like 5 years ago, because it's been around a while. Gorilla Mail is a great way to, when you're joining something or signing into something, or you want a free game of the day or whatever, and it says you got to give an email, you can always try to give it a Gorilla Mail email address. Now, if I'm a guy giving away free apps and free games, and I'm smart, and I don't speak with a Slavic accent, I will go and say, if you give me a Gorilla Mail email address, it's not a valid email address. I'm not accepting that. You're not going to get my free app that way. So it's one of those things you can always try. If it doesn't work, that just means the place you're accessing is really like top tier, like you're trying to finagle something out of Microsoft or something.
It's like a VPN. Nope, I know you're behind a VPN.
Right. And you can select different domains. It isn't like every email you request is going to be gorillamail.net. No, they definitely have different email domains you can pick. So you can always try different ones, kind of thing. The main reason I got this was because my son joined reddit.com/r/free game findings, where like every day there's like 80 postings. Some of it is DLC, some of it is games. And for the game stuff, he wanted to, see, well, this is a VR game. And he keeps asking for my email address. Well, how can I get around it, Dad? So I gave him this app, and I basically said, look, you can go in this app, make a quick, I hate giving my email address kind of thing, and see if it works. And he said the first day alone, like half of the apps, it worked just fine. And he was able to get the games for free.
Nice. Ivor points out that it also says in the description, this mobile app is quite new and not yet ready, so don't expect miracles.
I swear this website, I'm going to like this website has been around for a while, because you can see it says added on September 27th, 2021. So it's been there for at least a year. Now, to paraphrase John Mad Dog Hall, it has been updated in about a year. Maybe it doesn't need to be updated.
It's done.
Yeah, maybe it's done.
This is for you, Ivor, as well. Under the donate here, it actually has a link to donate Bitcoin under the F Droid for the Gorilla Mail. That's the first time not that I look at F Droid very much, but that's cool. I like it.
Yeah,
but you can donate to it.
I just like finding little ways of just going around corners and getting away with stuff. I'm going to bring another real quick one if you don't mind.
Oh yeah.
One of the add-ons I insist on having in my Firefox, it's called Neat URLs. Okay, this is a quick tangent. The reason I like that app is because that little extension add-on has the ability to negate all affiliate link crap. I firmly believe 80% of all the people's affiliate money that's being made is completely accidental, where they clicked on a link, they looked at something, they left, they went back the next day and they went to just buy something, and that affiliate link is still active. So they accidentally give money. I don't want to accidentally give anybody anything, not even a disease, but I digress. This one is literally called just URL checker. You can basically set this like a default browser in Android to when you click a link, it's going to open up this. And then in this app, you can say, I want to open up this URL with, and then you have your installed browser listings, and it has the ability to go through the URL and check the status of it. Can it clean the URL parameters? It can tell you all of the queries that got removed from the URL link. And it can also, if you want to, get rid of patterns. So hypothetically, if you know the Amazon affiliate link begins with this 6 letters and then equals, you can say, I want to get rid of it. And then you can basically, at the bottom, you can say what browser you want to open it up with if you have multiple browsers installed. I like cleaning my URLs. I will admit, it's another step when you're clicking things, and a lot of people don't like extra steps.
Do you have a
Um,
link for that door?
um, oh, I didn't hit enter in the YouTube chat. Sorry.
That's all right.
Right now, because it's not like I want to say you can only get it. Oh no, you can get it right now on Google Play or on F-Droid. I didn't think you could get it on both, but it is available on both. Completely free to download. It's one of those things. I find it interesting just to see how many links I click in a day have trackers in it, have references in it, or have affiliate links kind of thing in it. And I like being able to scrub that stuff out of my clicking, because quite literally, if you click the link, the page doesn't even have to load yet, and it already took effect. I showed,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, I like showed my wife how she accidentally gave, oh man, this really unmasculine looking doctor guy who's going to be doing a boxing match with MMA legend Anderson Silva here this weekend, like Dr. Bob or Dr. Joe or whatever his name is. And I showed her how when she was clicking things, she was giving him money and not even knowing it because his affiliate link was set in her Chrome browser.
Wow. Yeah, you can learn a lot from a URL too, which is just up in the address bar of your browser. I'd recommend people to, if you click on something, look at that long address up top. And I mean, there's a lot of ampersands, which is the and sign, but there's a lot of data held up in that URL. So just a fun thing to do is if you think you're someplace and you're just there, if you look up, it'll show maybe affiliate links and ad campaigns and stuff like that up there.
Yeah, it's like the security people try to tell you you're never supposed to click a link in email. In reality, you're never supposed to click a link from any place that you are not completely trusted of. Okay. There's no such thing as trusted email because email was invented before SSL even was a thing. So it's not trustworthy. You're always supposed to right click a link, copy it, go to the address bar, paste it, and then look at it. Does it make sense? Um, Everything after the initial question mark, you can delete. Because in most URLs, half of what's after the question mark, I mean, half of the link is after the question mark, and you can always delete it, get rid of it, and everything works just fine. I'm a stickler whenever I'm in like Voxer and people share a link. Sometimes you get like a mile long link because they just literally go straight from the web page, hit share, go straight to Voxer, and hit share. I am a stickler. I cannot not do it. I always have to, from any application, hit share, go to Tusky, which is a Mastodon client, where it shows me the title and then the URL. Then I can trim the URL, clean it up, hit that, copy that, and then share that out to my friends and sources kind of thing. Hopefully
This
this
app,
URL
oh,
checker will help. Sorry.
yeah, absolutely. But like you said, it's that whole giving up convenience for security, and how many people are going to actually does it. Sorry, that I wasn't quite following that app all the way, but do you have to literally copy and paste it in there, or can you put this as kind of middleware where it'll filter through here?
Right. What you can do is you can say you can either say I don't want to set a default browser, and then every time you click a link in like an email or something, when it goes to launch a full desktop browser, it will then launch the list instead where you can pick this, or you can pick this as your default browser. So if you're an email and you click a link, if you're in the Google Assistant and click a link, if you're in another application and you click a hyperlink, it will launch this instead to where you can clean the link up, and then at the very bottom you can select what browser to launch it in.
Okay, nice. Yeah, that's cool. I like it.
Yeah, I'm a fan. I'll say this: the normal Android ecosystem, the only downside is sometimes what they do is they launch the web view uh, So the web page will still load. It's just in like a light version of the browser. That is also the way that Facebook was able to skirt their way around Apple EULA rules to where they were not supposed to be doing tracking with people. And they said in their app they weren't tracking. But then when they launched the web view, like here's a quick preview of the web page you're clicking, then they would suck all the information and store it and then say, oh, do you want to launch in Safari? And then they would let all the information go, but they already had everything that they needed.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Ivor's crying again. He claims that he was going to bring this app, so he's a little bit butthurt that you're stealing all of his apps.
Well, then I'll steal another one.
Well, I got one, Door. Do you mind if I jump in here?
Mm-hmm.
So this one isn't necessarily an Android app, but it has a progressive web app, or it is a progressive web app. So you can use it basically like an app on your phone. It sort of saves it to the desktop, however that works. But then there's also a website or a web app through your browser on your computer, which you can sync as well. And it's called CurioCaster. And yeah, you can sync between your devices, and it's pulling from the podcast index, and so it has podcasts, but it also has music, which is would be value for value music. And so this CurioCaster is kind of on the cutting edge as far as the podcasting 2.0 goes, with the namespace and implementing all the tags that are available. And so, yeah, people might want to check it out. It's also, I don't know if you'd consider it beta, but it's definitely a work in progress. And the guy is named Steven, who it's his app. He develops it, and he's constantly making changes to it. And so, yeah, it's one of the most cutting edge podcast players that I have found anyway.
Do they have variable speed playback?
They do. Up to only 2.5 on the website, and then I did find another one that was 5, which was nice, but I don't remember what it was. I'll see if it is 2.5 on the phone as well.
Gotcha.
But yeah.
Yeah, I will say that was the other thing I toyed with when I was getting rid of all the apps on my phone to try to get stuff to work correctly. I skimmed 20 apps off my phone, and then I thought, how many of these apps could I just use as a progressive web app and just be perfectly fine? Realistically, most of them. Only a couple of them had what I considered to be truly unique out of the browser type functionality. And it's not notifications. I don't care about notifications.
Yeah, this is one of the only ones that does live as well. So
Gotcha.
like with my other podcast, I'm trying to be able to stream live, and this CurioCaster will pick it up and play it live.
Gotcha. Okay, this one I'm going to bring. The only reason I'm really bringing it is apparently it was a successful app before. It came to Netflix, which is weird. It came to the Netflix interface in your video screen to where you could play a trivia game. The trivia game is just called Trivia Crack. And they had normal mode, then they had hard mode, and me and the wife sat there. They would let you redo the same game again. So if you wanted 100%, it really wasn't difficult kind of thing. But I was happy to say every time we sat down, our average was 8 to 9 out of 10 answers we were able to get right. partially because in the normal Jeopardy fashion of asking a question, they would kind of give you two hints during when they would give you the answer kind of thing in Jeopardy's sake, where they would say, I'm trying to think of a good example, but I can't. But they would insinuate that it's a book, and then they would ask you what is the title kind of thing. So they would give you like two different ways to try to get the answer. Trivia Crack was a very, I'll say, easy on the eyes, cartoony looking thing on the Netflix that just seemed to work. How you would expect a trivia game to work is what I'll say. None of the questions were crazy difficult. None of the questions were crazy impossible to know. You're not asked to describe quantum mechanics. You know what I mean? But it was, I think, just fun enough to where you could have like two or three people sitting around, play the game. Always one person around will know the answer, and you can like laugh at the same time, kind of thing. And it unfortunately does have in-app ads and in-app purchases. But if you're a Trivia Crack fan, I don't think you really care if it has ads or stuff because you're on crack.
The real question is how many of the correct answers came from your wife and how many came from you?
Oh, clearly more from her. I got no problem saying that. Look, she's much smarter than I, except when it comes to picking a spouse. I kind of beat her on that one. But yeah, that's why most of the time when a question comes to both of us, I just go like this and just look at her, and then wait for her to answer, and then I go, "Yep, that's it."
That's the right one.
Mm-hmm.
This app is called Medito.
Medito, good name.
Medito, meditation and sleep, and it's by Medito for mindfulness, meditation, and sleep. Has a average of 4.9 stars with 19,100 reviews out of 1 million downloads. Rated E for everyone. And then it says no data. Oh boy, I really can't handle this anymore. No data shared with third parties. This app may collect these data types, app info and performance. Data is encrypted in transit. I don't know what data they're sending back. Hopefully they're not filming while you're sleeping. And you can request the data to be deleted. It was updated June 19th, 2022. And my wife downloaded it and started listening to it at night. So then I started listening to it as well, since I was right next to her. And at first I was a bit apprehensive to listen to people talking while I'm trying to go to sleep. And then,
dude, people fall asleep to me all the time.
And then it's, as far as I can tell, it's on her phone, but you just pick, and I'm terrible at this game. I don't know what else it has on it, but people talking and telling stories in kind of monotone, relaxing voices, and they start to get slower. And apparently I'm passing out pretty quickly, which before was a problem. There's other reasons why I might be going to sleep faster now, but I feel like this has helped me fall asleep within a couple minutes of my head hitting the pillow.
Gotcha. Going by the description, at least it says the only thing it's collecting is app info, like what version of it is. With each different types of Android, each different type of phone, there could be a different, like, slightly version of the app, and performance. How is the health of the app? How long are you running the app? Kind of stats. Hopefully it's just that is what I'll say. Well, I'm going to ask you the wild card question that everyone I've asked who doesn't know are completely off with this question. What is the average time it takes the average person in the first world to fall asleep?
7 minutes.
Yeah, exactly 7 minutes. Which I find like insane. Are you kidding me? Only 7 minutes? But I know there's more than a couple nights where I do lay down and I just go right out.
Yeah, I know. I don't know how I know that door. It's yeah, it was a shock to me as well. I used to lay in bed for a half hour, 45 minutes, an hour,
Yeah.
and just sit there going, "What am I even doing here? Why do I not get up? But I'm too tired to get up. But I
Right.
apparently
Well,
not tired to go to sleep. I don't know."
and you have to remember that's on the average. Like with my oldest, when he was a baby, I would wrap him like a burrito so tight he couldn't get his arms out, he couldn't move, and he would just lay there on his back. And I would put him near the bottom to the base of the TV, and we would turn the TV on, and I would go volume up, volume up, volume up, and just turn up a little bit too loud, and just leave him there. And now, quite literally, he's in a car with us, and I can see him decide, okay, it's time to go to bed, and he goes, and he's out in like 5 seconds. He starts snoring in 5 seconds. I'm like, how man, I'm so jealous. So the average is 7 minutes. So every kid or everybody where it takes only like 20, 30 seconds, you have somebody like us that takes a half an hour.
Right.
Yeah.
This app may help with that. I was a bit skeptical. I'm always a bit skeptical with these type of apps. And it would be interesting to remove it from the equation and try, but it doesn't keep me awake. So I guess
Right. That's a plus.
something.
Well, and this will be the most hardest thing to do the double blind study against, because if you hear well, let me rephrase that. You should know if you're hearing voices or not. Some of us do better than others at that.
Well, it depends on where they're coming from.
That's true. Okay, what I'm going to bring next, I don't remember how much this says it's going to cost. Let me see what it says.
$17.99 in Canada, so probably $12 in the States.
Well, for some, because somehow why I should not be logged into this. This should not be right. Come on now. What I'm going to say is I paid nothing for it. Right now, $13.99. This is another reason to follow either reddit.com/r/app hunt or reddit.com/Android app, or just me. This is called
App Hunt, the brother of Mike.
I think it is. Yes. G Stomp Producer is the name of the app. It's from planeth.com. 4.7 reviews, 50,000 downloads plus E for everyone. Again, $14 to buy. Updated September 17th, 2022. 4.7 average reviews. No data is shared. No data is collected. That's all you need to know. This is what they call a audio sequencer, not necessarily an audio editor, but you're supposed to get all of your different forms of audio into this, and it's a digital audio workstation only. It has touch controls, and it's on Android. And if you have a really big screen, this can be an incredibly useful application if you want to take individual parts of music and coordinate it together to full-blown music. And again, I got it completely for free. This is another reason to also put things on your wish list on Android. It will notify you when prices go down or prices become free. So yeah, I just I clicked download when it was free. It downloaded it. I wait 10 minutes. I say uninstall. Now it's permanently in my library if I ever need it.
So did you use it at all? You just literally deleted it straight away, uninstalled it?
Well, yeah, kind of, because I really don't need a music sequencer. I dance like a white person and I sequence music like a white person as well. I also don't need a digital audio workstation. I use Audacity for bass editing. Then I use Q Tractor for audio arrangement is the way I put it.
Why don't you use Audacity for that?
Because Audacity is a destructive editor, and anytime you make any change, you got to sit there and wait for the progress bar to go across and stop. And I just don't have the patience. I'd much rather do all my arrangement, get it right, hit the button, and then go to the bathroom, and then come back, and hopefully it's done. Right. And
Depends
speaking
on what kind of bathroom you're doing, probably.
well, no, I'm pretty quick either way. Speaking of that, I'll be back in just 1 second.
Okay. You have any apps in there, Ivor, that I can steal? Make it look like I prepared? For anyone listening at home and not watching along with YouTube, Door just vanished. I think he's hitting the little boy's room, and the Ivor is wanting me to dance like a monkey in the meantime, which I refuse to do for you or anyone, Ivor.
And you can take that to the bank.
That's right.
Okay. I was going to throw two more apps out there. The first one I wanted to throw out there, Josh, is really no. You don't get to throw out apps, Ivor. Sorry. The
I
first
asked him
one.
for one when you were gone, Door, just to be fair.
And that's how quick that's how quick the Irish guy is in the bathroom. This one is called FDM, or Free Download Manager from Soft Deluxe. One of the features in this download manager, I will say, is it has an automatic like bandwidth prioritization mode where you can go ahead and edit. You can say moderate mode, slow mode, or full blast mode kind of thing, to where if you're on either a limited connection or you're in a limited connection, you're in a bandwidth impaired network, or you literally just have to try to squeeze every bit of your juice out of your device, you can use a free download manager. Now, with that said, I want other people, Josh, if you know any reasons to use a download manager. The only other reason I can see to use a download manager is to just have an independent tracking of all the different things that you want to download. Some download managers will let you hand off the download. Like if you get home and the download is still going, you can hand it off to a standalone version of the manager, download manager at your house. But otherwise, I'm not really sure of a reason here in 2022 to use the download manager.
To be honest with you, Door, I don't even know what a download manager is before this. And I can't say that I know now.
There used to be the, I think at least kind of popular Firefox and back then Internet Explorer plugin called Down Them All or Download Them All. It was a combination scraper to where you could go to a web page and say, every MP3 on this web page, just go ahead and download. It also had the ability to say, I want to cache this download. I want to take this download and pause it, and I want to download it later kind of thing. So it seems like it's one of those things harkening back to a different time. But I want, if I'm wrong, for people to send in emails at aaa@podnutz.com and tell me I'm wrong. I forgot to save that G stopper. Save that one too. Okay, so the other one I wanted to talk about super quick, Josh, and not really super quick, because, this is the kind of thing where I do honestly believe if I had this kind of app when I was younger, it really honestly could have been a benefit. I'm going to say that. It comes with a caveat. This is a in-app purchase only kind of app. You can use it free for 7 days. After that, it costs you money. It's called Stammeri Stuttering Therapy from Stammeri Speech Therapy. The in-app purchase is, I want to say it's $7. We'll see if we can find it along the way. 4.2 average reviews, 100,000 downloads, installs, for everyone, no ads, updated October 18th, 2022. No data is shared with third party. This app may collect personal info, financial info, and 3 other types of info. Data is not encrypted and data cannot be deleted. About this app, I think here's where it will tell me. Version 5.0, Android and up, 99 cents. I want to say it's 99 cents a month. Might be a week. 99 cents in-app purchases, and it basically never stops. I do believe part of the reason why they charge a monthly subscription is you can periodically reach out to real human stuff and talk to people about um, stuff. There also is a daily group video call thing where you can basically sit around with other people who are having issues and figuring out how they're getting over it might help you figure out how you can get over it. And here's the real reason why I bring this app. This isn't like tuberculosis. Stuttering, stammering, speech disfluencies, speech impediments is not like a testable disease like gonorrhea, dare I say, tuberculosis, COVID. It's nothing like that. It is a condition that can be completely mental. It can have stem from physical things going on, either in your mouth, in your tongue, in your teeth, or in your brain or in your head kind of thing. Or there's lots of different ways that speech disfluencies can show themselves. Just because stuff can have the same symptoms showing doesn't mean they all have the same resolution. Sometimes it's literally just practicing breathing, practicing taking breaks between breaths, practicing spacing out your words, practicing enunciating certain things ahead of time, practicing pace of speech, not to get too far ahead of yourself kind of speech. So there is no one way solution, I'll say, in like my speech disfluency. The other side tangent is, for those who don't know, I'm right now 50 years old. Before the age of 30, I literally spoke to nobody because I literally couldn't say 3 words without it taking 5 minutes for me to get past a block to where I just couldn't get the syllables out, or I just kept stuttering and saying the same thing over and over again. And there was like no getting around it kind of thing. And that was just me. Part of my getting past it was just figuring out I don't care anymore what people think about me. And because what I didn't realize is when I was younger, I would like drink alcohol. And then when I would cuss people out, man, I wouldn't stutter at all. I sounded like I knew what I was doing. And then it took me forever to figure out, oh, it's because to me, it was mainly a mental thing of over caring what other people thought about me, kind of thing. So we all have our own path to figuring out how to get past speech disfluency, speech impediments, and stuttering. Now, I'll also say this. If there is somebody in your life that you know has a speech disfluency, number one, worst thing you can do is try to finish the sentence for them. Let them finish on their terms. Number two, the second worst thing you can do is, as they're stuttering, roll your eyes or start to do something else. No, second worst thing you can do. Be patient. Just sit there, let them finish, and then when they finish, acknowledge what they said and then move forward in the conversation. Every time you do that, they're going to feel a little bit more comfortable speaking with you in the future. And that's what it really should be all about. Number 3, I'll say, if you want to do that person a favor, show them this app. And if you want to, we have the holiday season coming up. Why don't you buy them a year's worth of the service? It's not much money, number one. And number two, if they get any benefit out of it, trust me, to them, it's going to be well worth any money. And it literally could turn out to be the best gift you give somebody.
So did you use this app, Door? Like, have you...
Well, it only had 7 days worth of service, so I just used it for a couple days. And honestly, I like the fact that it had you read things and then it would try to evaluate your vocal tendencies. The daily video group calls, it wasn't many. You could tell if the app was as popular as it could be, each video thing would have had, I think it was 8 or 9 people in a call. When I was in 2 of them, there was only like 4 or 5 people. I wanted to make sure that I wasn't there just, to like learn from them kind of thing. I wanted them to feel comfortable kind of thing. But also I like the fact that this gave you objectives. And I remember when I was taking speech therapy, my speech therapist always tried to give me little simple objectives. Just, when the next time you go out to eat, you know, make sure you say what drink you want. Or next time you guys go, to the grocery store, you know, make sure to ask somebody, even if you know, ask somebody, where's your bubblicious gum or whatever, just as, you know, getting more used to things. So I'm not saying I blindly support this app, but I blindly support apps that help people to get better, whether it's a meditation app or going to sleep app or a help with speech therapies app.
Yeah, no, it's got a great name too.
Yeah.
Stamurai.
hmm
Of course, Ivor's making fun of people in the chat.
I was gonna say I'm gonna guess maybe Ivor brought this app 3 weeks ago and I just didn't remember.
He said that people do that to him all the time. I think he was referring to finishing his sentences, and he doesn't even have a stammer.
Hmm.
He also said it might be a good app for me because I keep saying Bitcoin over and over again.
Gotcha.
So, I mean, I'm just reading those so that everyone can be thankful that he's not on the show spewing this stuff verbally.
Right. Let me see one thing, Josh. Because now I
Swift
can't remember.
brought something which I can't tell if it's an app or not, but it's called Open Audible,
Hmm.
and it's openaudible.org. And it says it's a cross-platform audiobook manager designer for Audible users. Manage all your audiobooks with easy-to-use desktop application. And to what it looks like to me is that it's, um, yeah, just a fancy player for Audible books. Unless I'm missing something here, it's just a better designed
Hmm.
audiobook player. And then, but then you can purchase it for $27.
Oh no.
Or is
Um.
it's for 1 year? I don't know. I don't think so, Swift. I've never seen it, and there's no chance that I will be touching this thing.
Well, then my question is does Calibre not have audiobook features? Because I know that's like the in air quote the ultimate ebook tool.
Yeah, and or is it just is there some sort of what's that called, the coding, the DRM
Yeah.
for Audible?
Yeah, I'm gonna guess Calibre is just word text based audiobook.
No, I don't think so. I think they do GPubs or the.
I don't know. But I will say more choices are good.
It is. I don't really understand the Open Audible thing here. It says it's $27 a year,
Right.
so maybe it's good, but I never listen to audiobooks anyway, let alone from audible.com, so or
Well,
Audible, whatever it is.
I'll maybe pirate audible.com.
And
Gotcha.
to address the elephant in the room, the chat room is also discussing your mustache.
I don't know if that's a good or bad thing.
I
I
like
did
it.
trim it.
That's all that matters.
I did trim it because the wife kept saying I look like a bad porn actor.
As opposed to a good one, I guess.
Huh? I never thought about that. Gotcha. I can't remember if this was the right one or not. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna talk for 3 seconds while I scroll, roll in the hay, roll in the hay. Look at one more link. Let's see, and we're gonna say no, not that one. We're gonna say Okay. The last one I'm going to bring up, you were talking about reading, audiobooks kind of thing, books and audiobooks kind of thing. Okay, long and the short of it, I just went and had to go see a neurologist. One of the things he said was he definitely encouraged me to read books before I go to sleep. To which I then promptly told him, Doc, if I read anything more than 10 words, I start getting mad because by the 10th word, I have no idea what the first word was anymore. So that's not happening. So while trying to read is what I'm going to say, I stumbled across this app, and I will say if you are a Substack patron, then you already know about this. But if you're looking for other ways of getting text, full text stuff that is not completely inundated with ads, that's the caveat, then you need a Substack account. You need to start giving people pennies and dollars here and there for Substack content. I will say there's more than a couple people I know of that have been at least moderately successful making Substack type content. It is from a Substack Inc. 4.5 average reviews, 10,000 downloads, E for everyone, completely free, no in-app ads, no in-app ads or in-app purchases. Updated October 24th, 2022. No data shared with third parties. This app may collect some personal info, app activity, and app info and performance. Data is encrypted in transit. You can request data to be collected. The best way I think I could describe Substack, it's like subscribing via money to people's blogs, is the way I'll put it. But most of the people's blogs are much higher quality. There's many people, journalists, writers who quit their companies and they decided to do Substacks on their own, kind of thing. Some of them are being very successful, monetarily speaking. Some of them are being very successful content wise. There's more than a couple of people I know on Substack that 30 days after they post something, they then post it publicly for free, kind of thing. So it's a way you can evaluate some people's content before deciding to go all in and give them, your hard-earned cash.
Is it a subscription, or do you pay for the entire site and then read whatever you want to, or how does that work?
I don't think there's a site-wide thing. I think there is a main hub. In the main hub, you can see from free content from people. And then if you you want their full content, then you have to subscribe to them. And it's all based upon how much they charge.
Okay.
So just like podcasting is what I'll say, the most successful people in podcasting were people who already had fame outside of podcasting. The most successful people in Substack are people that already had fame outside of Substack. So yeah, that's going to be the last of my apps.
Oh, I think Eric joined the chat as well. And he said he listened to an audiobook once. It was 8 hours of someone breathing, pages turning, and at the end, some guy said, "What? Oh, you mean out loud?"
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'll just say I did listen to one audiobook. I'm not going to say what it was, but it was a pleasant thing to hear the author read the book because the author knew what to emphasize. The author knew like when to pause, kind of thing. So it was actually kind of an interesting thing, but I don't watch any movies or TV because 99% of that stuff is completely fictitious and fantasy. Like doctors can't watch doctor shows because they're so inaccurate. I can't watch anything involving a computer because it's so inaccurate. I don't listen to any podcasts that are fantasy based. I listen to only news, factual based, or personal experience based kind of stuff. So that's why I thought Substack might have been something for me, but I couldn't have tried.
Was that one audiobook you listened to, was it 50 Shades of Grey? It's just us, Dora. You can tell me.
Is it real or fantasy?
What's that?
50 Shades of Grey, because I don't listen to fantasy.
Oh, I don't know exactly. I think it's Hot and Steamy, Dora.
I think it's the kind of steamy eye pass,
Steamy like this show.
like a turd.
There you go. Yeah, that's Android app addicts polishing turds.
Hmm. Oh man.
Do you have anything else you want to empty, or should I go through the list here?
No, I mean, there's a look. Realistically, Josh, I have another 25 linked, including I'm just throw out this one that I forgot to bring months ago, mainly because the split second I discovered it, somebody else kindly discovered it for me also, and I want to say Discord, and it's just a simple app called Merlin. You're bored one day, put it on your phone, walk through a park, walk through your backyard, walk out your front door, hit the button. It will hear the bird and it will tell you what kind of bird it is, just in case you wanted to know what to shoot at. I'm just saying. The wife gets really mad when I try to hit squirrels with the car.
Merlin Bird ID.
Yeah.
Cornell Lab.
But I don't like no squirrels, man. Those things eat their young. They're like cannibals. They eat other squirrel babies. So it's my job to take them out. I just can't hit them. They're too fast.
Yeah, they're small too.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard with a car. You need a 22 or a shotgun.
Yeah. But yeah, I just thought this was a cool idea. I showed it to my nephew because he was like, every morning I wake up and this thing is so loud. What is it? So I showed him the app. He unfortunately has a fascist dictatorship iPhone, but he was able to get the app loaded on it. And then he says, "Oh, I know what it is now." So he literally said he went out back with rocks and was like throwing rocks at the bird to get it to go away.
Sounds like a family of animal lovers.
Well, they live in the middle of nowhere, and he made it very clear I don't like living in the middle of nowhere. This sucks. I can't even walk down the street because you won't let me because it's like nothing on the road, no sidewalk, no nothing. No, but I did find out I can bribe them with chicken wings.
Nice.
I gave him some chicken wings 2 weeks ago, and he says I've never had chicken wings this good in my life. Like, yeah, I know that's the way I make stuff. He says, "Can you make more?" I said, "Can you do some housework?" And yeah, he did.
Man, I've mentioned it many times, but the chat room is on fire tonight. So
Mhm.
anybody that's available to come out when we actually do this thing, it's it's quite entertaining. Half of it I can't even read, and that's not because it's funny or crude. It's just because I can't read.
I understand.
All right, Dor, I'm gonna go over this list here. So the topics of discussion for this show in order of appearance was a discussion about the RISC V being supported by the Android open source project and the Arc browser. 2 don'ts, the reverse to-do list. I like how we're getting more F-Droid
Mm-hmm.
apps. Gorilla Mail, quickly receive anonymous and temporary mails. URL checker by Triangulo Y. We're going with that.
Mm.
CurioCaster by Stephen Bell. Trivia Crack 2, double the crack of the first version, from Eatermax. Medito, Meditation and Sleep by Medito for Mindfulness, Meditation and Sleep. G Stomper Producer by PlanetH.com, too expensive. Put it on your list, try to get it for free. Free Download Manager, FDM by Soft Deluxe Inc. Stammerai, Stuttering Therapy by Stammerai Speech Therapy. Substack Reader by Substack Inc. And the one that I just downloaded, Merlin Bird ID by Cornell Lab. And that's the Cornell Lab of Ornithology. That is the list.
Hmm. Didn't realize it was put out by an actual like educational institution. That's awesome.
Yeah, that's Ivy League right there for you, Dor.
Yeah, man. Very cool. Yeah, again, I will say I literally had, if I count, 24 other apps that technically could have been brought. Now, the goal is we only bring the best of the apps. So some of them weren't worth bringing. I'll say that. Oh, very cool. So do you have any parting words for people there, Josh?
No. Well,
No.
I say no, but then I'm gonna, it's a good way to start a sentence. No, but I'm gonna say this anyway. Uh, Thanks to everyone for listening. We do appreciate it. It's nice to have the feedback, except for Ivor in the chat. The just any sort of connection from the listening audience is much appreciated. I mean, it's great to talk to Dor and Ivor on a semi-regular basis, but it's also nice to know that you're not just farting against thunder or just whispering into the breeze and there's actually somebody listening to the content. I mean, we'd still do it even if there weren't anybody. But with that, just reach out if you can. I mean, that's a good return for us is getting feedback, getting emails, voicemails at 1706 Podnut. Yeah, nail it, Dor, or what?
Yeah,
And yeah, emails, join the chat, Discord, Fox, or whatever.
whatever.
We're desperate for friends, and if you want to be one, we're open for invites.
Well, and like it is a non like judging atmosphere is what I'll say. Not like Facebook where every time you say something you get like half a dozen people diving on you calling you an idiot. You know, we
Yeah,
we
no, it's
we
just
just have like one or two people calling us idiots, and that's just
yeah,
us.
and it's us. Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah,
We're all in the room.
yeah, yeah. I would say thanks for everyone's support for helping us keep things going, kind of thing. I want to thank everyone who has stuck through any amount of downtime to continue to be a Patreon supporter. Um, Long and the short of it, I'll just say it like this: thanks to the people who supported me on Patreon, even when I couldn't do shows, I had the ability to support a good friend who was going through incredibly tough times. Um, who basically was separated from his family. Um, his other half left him with all the kids. Basically said, "I don't want any of the kids. You keep all the kids." Uh, Left him with nothing to get his life, started with. But thanks to you guys with Patreon, I was able to every month ship him at least some money and keep him afloat to the point to where now um, things are starting to like shape up for him. So dare I say, like I've tried to say even from episode number one, just support those who support you. Um, you always come out happier for it in the end. Definitely. So yeah, I want to thank everyone for coming out, hanging in the chat, especially Mr. Jim Dennis. Very good to see you, sir. Someone tells me I need to get up to the Northwest area and buy you a beer. I'm just saying. Um, Josh, thank you for hanging out. Hope you had a good night.
Absolutely, man. And I'm gonna pitch my other podcast if that's all right,
Oh
Dor.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's called Podcasting for Value, and it makes even less sense in this one probably. But that's podcasting the number 4 value, and it should be available on any of your podcasting apps. Make sure you smash the like button. And no, Dor. I'm
Yeah.
done.
Wrong platform. If you ever thought about being a creator, you should always get as much knowledge beforehand before you start to create. And I think that podcast is a very good start.
Oh yeah, thank you. I didn't. The point of the show is to not do any of that you just said though, and don't gather any information and just
Well, no, no,
start.
no. You're doing it for them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, if I'm relieving the burden or the stress for all this stuff, then I'm glad because if hopefully it'll help somebody because it is a lot of head bashing against the wall trying to get get poorly documented apps and just things that are above my pay grade to work together.
Right. I understand. With that, will thank everyone again, and we will hopefully talk to everyone again real soon. Okay, so that's exporting, that's saving, that's good. I will say, Josh, I asked like a crowd of people, like 3 crowds of people, who here is thinking about going to OLF? I'm considering it. Nobody said yes. 4 people said they were thinking about going to Linux Fest Northwest.
Nice.
So what I'm doing is I'm trying to do what one of my buddies did, which is I'm going to say to my wife, I want to go to OLF. I want to go to OLF. I want to go to, I'll wait. Okay. I'll make you a deal. I won't go to OLF this December, but next April, I'd like to go to Linux Fest Northwest and see if she falls for it. Because I will say,
I would definitely I would make the biggest effort that I could to get there.
well, I know it's physically maybe the closest conference that I could go to you, but also it's just the place is like perfectly set up for a conference. I mean, is it me or is it like perfectly set up? Because it's a technical college with classrooms and stuff. Where like
It's actually a community college.
right to where it's like everything's just right there, nothing's too far away. Um, just don't eat the crab cakes.
Or the tacos, apparently. Maybe you guys just don't know what you're doing with food.
Dude, it was a street taco place. Come on, man.
It was a street taco place. It was inside a building.
No, it wasn't. It was out of. I could have swore it was. I could have swore it was out of a van.
It was in the back of a fish market or something.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Yeah, I remember.
It was a legitimate indoor. You had to wear pants.
It was a legitimate indoor place that could have not been there 2 weeks earlier because it was literally like thrown together. I do remember that.
I don't know, man. It was so. It was.
Oh, it was good. It was good. It was very good. 168, 2. 1 fit it, right? Oh man, I'm blind. So,
brother,
why won't it? Now this one won't connect either. I'm having some SMB.
I'm starting to think that Ivor's just a jerk. I thought he was having a bad day, but I think he's just a jerk in general.
Maybe he's having a bad day. Maybe he secretly has Crohn's disease and we just don't know it. Crohn's disease, that's where you have extreme digestional distress.
No, I think he just has a severe case of buttholeitis.
So why? This is like
nope,
weird.
That's not the right one.
I know last week I was able to do this, or last week, whatever weeks ago, I was able to do this just fine. Now, to just go to from this one computer and SMB to this computer. And now it's like, no.
SCP, man. SCP. I don't know. I guess I've never really used Samba for anything. I'm assuming that's what SMB is.
Yeah.
Samba command.
Yeah. The main reason I used to use it was just because it was available on all platforms.
Mm. So is that how you'd communicate between Linux and Windows?
Yeah.
Uh, I just remember doing internet in a box stuff and constantly coming across Samba issues.
Yeah. I believe it. Yeah. Part of the reason is there's 3 versions of it now that it just worked. There's at least 3 versions of it. You never know which one you're dealing with. And each one is more insecure than the last one.
Right. Awesome. Just what you want.
Yeah. The Microsoft way. Okay, so bang bang. We got it. So now AAA. View details. Get rid of 586. 587. 586. Keep that there. Say Control C, Control V. Oh man.
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah, so now they want me to see a neuro ophthalmologist, which I swore when he told me that, I'm like, you just made that up.
Sounds expensive.
Well, that's why I got Blue Cross Blue Shield, so I don't have to pay those prices. But I will say the 2 doctors I spoke to, or 2 of the doctors I spoke to, were genuinely happy that there was some stuff they didn't have to explain. Like the one lady talked about, we're going to test your cochlea now. Do you know what your cochlea is? I said, yeah. It's basically 3 rings that are like donuts that are connected in your inner ear that have cilia in it that can tell. It's like it's like nature's gyroscope. And she was like, oh yes, that's right. And I said, now did you know there's a jumping toad in South America that's cochlea is so small, not only can it not hear the mating call of its offspring or of its opposite sex, but also its cochlea is so small that when it jumps, it can't react quick enough, so it always flops in the air and just lands wherever it lands, kind of thing. And she was just looking at me like, you're a nerd.
Yes,
like, yep.
Yes, I am.
And then the second one, I said they asked me about the complexity of the optic nerve in sight. And I said, oh yeah, absolutely. I know seeing is not A or B, on or off. Seeing is a bunch of different steps and different processes that only the end result are we aware of that sight happened. I said that's why Olympic athletes or special Olympic athletes, when you ask special Olympic athletes to do running when they're blind, they literally put a blindfold over their face because they know even if they're blind sight is a real thing. And blind sight is where someone literally can't see. We know they can't see, but you hold an ace of diamonds up in front of their face for like 10 minutes and then ask them what kind of card could be in front of your face. And they say, oh, like an ace. And then it's like, oh yeah, red or black? Oh, red. And they would like instinctively know it, even though they can't see it because blind sight's weird, man.
Yeah,
That's why when you see those people doing, supposedly they have, echolocation, blind people with echolocation, they always have the lights turned on and they don't have a mask over their eyes. The one time when I saw when they did put a mask over their eyes, they bumped into everything. And I was like, look, they're not trying to fool us. They just don't, they're not aware that they have some ability of sight. Oh, big news, Josh. You can now choose your YouTube handle.
I know. I saw that. Awesome.
YouTube is such a polluted pile of crap. So right now, are you on Firefox, Josh?
I am, yeah.
Okay. I'll just ask the next show if you could, just for giggles, load a Chromium-based browser and just see if when you connect with that one, do I see the camera stuff?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I could do that right now if you want.
Well, it's up to you, man. I get paid by the hour.
I can try to log in on two at the same time. 'Cause
Okay.
I'm crazy like that.
Yeah, because I do have color temperature settings and I believe it's exposure mode, and I do have white balance mode. Yeah, so I have white balance mode. I have resolution, all kinds of stuff. Yeah. Oh, but
Just get this
yeah, but
sorted here.
I think only one browser can use the camera at a time. Oh man.
Oh, there it is.
Ooh. So yeah, and the one lady said, "Are you opposed to seeing a visual therapist?" And I was just like, I don't know what a visual therapist is, but I'm not opposed to seeing one. Because when I told them that I can't read more than 10 words at a time, the one lady who did the 20 minutes of different kind of tests was like, I can see why you have problems reading. Great. Now let's do something about it. Okay.
Yeah. Nice.
The black headphones. What?
Oh, they're
Uh,
saying that we both are middle-aged balding men.
mm-hmm. Well, I'm going to paraphrase George Costanza. I'm not bald. I'm balding. There's a difference.
There is a difference.
Yeah. That's what I keep telling my wife, man, ooh, yeah, she doesn't buy it. I'll say that. And then my wife told my kid who won't stop brushing his hair in the mirror, look at dad. That's how you're going to end up.
Never has anything so mean been said to a kid before.
Yeah. And he just turned to me and he was like, for your sake, I hope you're wrong. And I was like, why? He said, because if she's right, who's going to take care of you when you're old? Damn. Okay. Oh man. So happy tomorrow's Friday. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was going to talk to you, see if you wanted to try to do a podcast together tomorrow.
I should. The only thing I got to do tomorrow is I got to leave at right after noon, take my kid out of school, take him to go see if he can pass his driving test.
Cool. Yeah, I might need help even setting up how to do it. Otherwise, I mean, I could spend, if you're willing, it'd probably be pretty easy to get sorted with your help.
Yeah, I was afraid in Video Ninja to click record your audio here locally in that interface, but it looks like it's working. And it's in WebM format, so it shouldn't be big and bulky. And it shouldn't take up a lot of space. So I might try that next week. Just for giggles. See if it actually works.
Nice.
Yeah, there's two things I can click. I can click record locally, which records your audio here locally on my computer, or I can say remotely record. It will then save it on your computer. And then I'm going to guess. Let me think. If I had to guess, mine would be more compressed. Yours would be more raw sounding. But yours should be of a better quality. Maybe. So yeah, the chicken wings, it's the same kind of thing, Josh. Airtight bag with buffalo sauce. You know what I mean? Your buffalo sauce, your Old Bay, your hot sauce, you honey them. season them so they're submerged in the liquid in the bag. Sous vide 170 for 3 hours. Pull them out. I put them on like a baker's rack, pat them dry as I can possibly get them, let them sit there till they're room temperature. Then I put them in a paper towel lined Tupperware container and just throw them in the fridge. And when I'm ready to cook them, turn on the deep fryer, throw them in, a minute and a half later, boom, wings. And literally the flavor goes down to the bone of buffalo sauce, where you really don't need to sauce the wings. Of course, I sauce the wings, but it's the kind of thing I swear you could like suck on the bone and you could still taste buffalo sauce.
What kind of deep fry do you have?
I want to say it's a really cheap, crappy Coal Daddy is what it's called. It goes up to 1,500 degrees. All I remember is, to get to that, good fry temperature, you need to buy a slightly better model. Where this thing was like $80. It was super cheap. Yeah, on sale, $69. Goes up to 375 degrees. Supposedly for the best fry food, because the hotter temperature you have, the least oil that gets absorbed into the food is 400 degrees. If you hit 400 degrees with your deep fryer, you can put stuff in it and it will come out and it will not be greasy at all. With my deep fryer, realistically, I could get away with putting only 2 or 3 wings in at a time, so the temperature doesn't fall too much. But the more wings I put in, the farther the temperature goes, the more greasy they come out. Which
You ever
sucks.
use an air fryer?
There's no such thing as air fryer. It's a convection oven. But no.
No, I think the air fryer is different. I think it uses small amounts of oil.
No.
Yeah.
No. My sister-in-law has one. All it does is blow hot air around everything.
Really?
It's a convection oven. Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah. It's a convection oven, and they're loud as crap too. I'm shocked at how loud they are.
Don't you have to put oil in it though?
Nope. Because all it does is dry everything out. Whatever you put in there, you have to put in there. And if you're doing it for 3 minutes, halfway through, shake it all around, or else certain spots will get really dry.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. It basically just tornado spins hot air around stuff. To where certain stuff, I know the one guy said what he never imagined would be great in it was literally just raw broccoli, lightly salt and peppered, put in the air fryer for 30 seconds. And he was it just would come out crisp. And I was okay, never thought of that. But yeah, they won't stop putting chicken nuggets and French fries in it. I'm 2 of the most unhealthy things you can eat. And you're putting it in an air fryer so it makes you feel better,
Yeah, that's brilliant. I love it. Yeah, can I get I'm not picking on anybody because I do this too, but can I get a number 1 big size?
Large sized?
Yeah.
With a Diet Coke?
Can I get a Coke Zero? That'd be great.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Everybody does that though.
I tell you what I want to get, Door. As far as utilities or appliances go, I just put it in the chat.
I just say it out loud. Brain. Okay. Ooh. Now that I can see being really useful. Yeah, so it's like a quick freezer. Yeah, so it I don't hear you anymore. Yeah.
No, sorry, I was recording an intro.
Okay,
yeah, it's a freeze dryer. So basically what they do is the first thing they do is drop the temperature to minus 40 degrees and just freeze it, and then somehow from there dry it once it's that frozen.
Right. It's bigger than I thought it was.
Hey, thanks.
I know.
The
Genetics.
But the thing about it is that apparently when you dehydrate something, it takes away or the you're left with 70% of the nutritional value or
Hmm.
something like that of the
Yep.
product or the food. And with the it's supposed to be 98% or something
Damn.
with the freeze dryer and 25 years shelf life. And
Yeah. Well,
so I mean
dare I say, I could see deep frying, deep freezing, sorry, certain things, and just because of the texture change, it would make it like a great addition to a recipe.
oh yeah, there's the reason I even thought about this is I went to a farmer's market in this little town on the island here, and this guy was selling. Well, he's giving away samples of it, and it was it was great. It was all fruit, blueberries, raspberries, apples,
Right. And
and
then it's like
it's
candy,
great.
probably.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And you can freeze dry ice cream and everything else as well.
Hmm.
So I mean, we just our plan for the property is to grow as much food as we can
Right.
and can as much food as we grow.
Yeah.
Be like
Yeah.
that,
Yeah.
Tony.
That was, look, man, that was a lot of gymnastics there.
But it's with canning, especially, it takes forever. Like it's just such a canning is a
Yeah.
process that I don't really enjoy that much either.
Yeah. The only other way I think to get as much nutrient value out of it is literally like pickling and canning, and both of them. Well, pickling, you got to make sure you don't get the bad bacterias and funguses, and canning is a lot of work and a lot of careful hygiene stuff going on.
Yeah, for sure. And it's just a pain in the butt. And you have to have all these jars and lids
Mhm.
and then make sure. I
The
mean,
water and
we have a big we have a big like it's a a legit pressure cooker it's a pressure canner is what it is, and we can fit like 30
uh,
jars in this thing.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
But it's huge. You need a um, like a turkey fryer propane
yeah.
stove,
Right.
and then it has to go up to a certain temperature and it has to stay at a certain pressure, or yeah, then
Right.
you end up with salmonella and butt
Yeah,
rot.
yeah. I would sooner try to like dry age steaks, which I'm pretty sure
Well,
if I did that, I'd mess that up too.
but that's another thing that is good for freeze drying is meats.
Right. Yeah, I tell you what, the sriracha pork chops I made tonight were a friggin' hit.
Nice.
I mean, it's sriracha. It's hard to go wrong with sriracha, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
We made some not so healthy um, mini mini pot pies, turkey pot pies from leftover
Oh,
turkey uh, from Solomon's uh, highlights magazine.
right.
You know those highlights that we
Yep. Yep.
made those last night. And they came out pretty good. And then I made one whole tray of mini. We use a uh, mini cupcake or muffin tin,
Right.
and so just so many little put them in there, and then said, okay, that's enough of those, and then just made one big pie after that.
Right. All right. I got to run to the bathroom again because I got a small bladder.
Don't leave me alone with these people again.
I know.
Oh, actually, I was leaving, so it's probably fine.
Well, he's gone.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, Swift. I don't fully understand that open audible.
Okay. So, cancel. Oh, it does open. Okay. Yeah, I figured. Yeah, so it saves your audio here locally as a WebM file, and it's a mono file. Yeah, it looks like it works fine. So what I'm going to try to do is one day before the next show, literally just come down here, load up Video Studio or Video Ninja on my own, and try to record like 2 hours of me just talking to see if it goes crashy crash.
You know
You
what
know what
I
I
was
mean?
thinking about doing, Door, is I had OBS open the other day, but it was just too much time to figure out right then. But to record just a session of me trying to code something,
Mm,
or set up Castopod and use that as a kind of a tutorial. Like,
yeah.
there, if you're struggling through it, here's me struggling through it.
Yep. Yeah. That I mean, the very first times I was doing uh recording of stuff was because we were trying to figure out how to set up a murmur server for Mumble, and we couldn't understand the because I was doing the port forwarding stuff. I know it was being done correctly, but we couldn't figure out why some stuff wasn't working. So yeah, yeah. There's like, and it's like I tried to explain to a guy at work. I like threw my hand up. I volunteered to be the teacher for the new software for new hires. Um, the guy was like, absolutely not, no way, because I wasn't up to snuff enough. And I said, do you understand there's no greater way to learn something than by being told you have to teach it, right? The person teaching it should not already be an expert because they get nothing out of it. But hey, what do I know?
Well, they get nothing out of it, and if you're an expert, you tend to skip a lot of the steps.
Yeah, I tried to explain to them the curse of knowledge, cognitive bias, where, and I said the example is go ahead and ask your average, um, like a 13-year-old kid about Minecraft. He'll go off for 3 hours talking. Meanwhile, you have no idea what he's talking about because that's the curse of knowledge, where people who know stuff don't realize
Mm.
you don't know. Yeah, so you can go to sleep to it. I understand, Swift. Oh man, yeah, pain. Oh, okay. So I do have an intro file. Got it. To do to do
Yeah,
to.
just sent that.
Yeah, I do have the next cloud does seem like it's running fine in air quotes again. Um, I
Yeah,
looked
I
and
had to go through the setup again, or wait, whatever the intro.
gotcha. I went through 5 different ways of imaging a Pi over the network without shutting it down. And everybody said the same thing. You should not do it. You can remote into it and do an SCP back to my network of a DD, but everyone was like, you should not do it. And what they didn't know what to say, and I know what the problem is, there's no way to properly what's called QS the operating system. On Windows systems, there's literally a service you can call called QSing, which enables you to do disk imaging as the operating system is up and running. And all it really means is unload everything possibly you can from RAM and put it into swap file or into local temp files, and then we'll image that. So when we bring that back up, we don't have to worry about what's in RAM. So it's like, I can't figure out a way to do that properly on Pi situations. So for me to image the system, I literally have to yank the SD card and make a copy, which I hate doing. I know there has to be a better way. I just don't know what.
Yeah, just put it on the EMMC or EMCC or whatever it's called.
Right.
Oh, wait. Pi doesn't have that. Huh.
Oh, well, I'm technically I'm on a Pi. I'm on a Rock 64. But
So
yeah. It does have.
What am I trying to say? EMMC?
Yeah, it does have an eMMC socket, but there's no eMMC drive on. I'm just using an SD card. But what I did figure out was I used to use ownyourbits.com. Ownyourbits.com gone. But now nextcloudpi.com is up and running, and they did have new images there.
Oh, nice.
So instead of having to go through an hours of upgrade, I was able to go there and get a official disk image for the Rock 64 from only like 20 days earlier or 15 days earlier. It was fairly fresh.
Nice. Mine's still not up and running. I looked at it and looked away in disgust.
Yeah, well, I understand.
It's just that stupid. Oh, you've got a whatever it is error that I've had 50 times. And it might be the SD card is crapping out.
Well, they do shrink over time. I will say that.
Well, that was one thing that I saw on an update with the Umbral is that it apparently gives you health checks on the SD card and lets you know if they're
really
starting to fail. So I don't know how they go about that.
Well, that's nice. Oh, man. But yeah, this weekend, my nephew's house, at his house, his mom's having a Halloween party. He literally yelled at his mom because my wife asked his mom, well, what do you want us to bring? And she was like, oh, well, just bring some meatballs. And he was like, meatball subs kind of thing. And he says, meatballs? Meatballs? Why are you asking him to bring meatballs? You're supposed to ask him to bring ribs or wings. And she just looked at him. And he says, and she was like, I'm asking him to bring meatballs. He's like, oh, it's like you hate me or something. And he just walked away.
Nice.
Yeah, so I'm going to have to cook 16 wings and sneak them up to him.
Cool. I got to head out here, Door.
All right, man. Yeah, I got to try to edit this. Good seeing you. If I have any updates on Line Express Northwest, you'll be the second person to know because first will be me. If you want to hook up tomorrow, try to give me an hour heads up if you can.
Okay. Well,
and I think I'll be good.
Just give me a quick, what do I need in order to interview you? I mean, I guess just do it on do it on Video Ninja and record through, because I haven't done any video recording or anything yet.
Do you want to do video or audio?
Well,
I'll say because audio is easy with Mumble.
With Mumble.
If you download and install the Mumble client, you just go through the wizard It's basically an auto tuning wizard kind of thing. You just go through the wizard automatically. I'll turn off my Raspberry Pi 4, load up my Diet Pi Mumble instance on it. You can connect to it. You can click record, and it will give you two separate files, one of you, one of me, and it makes it super easy to edit.
Okay.
You could do it like we do it with Audacity, where we just both click record, and we can both, you can both put it together. I wouldn't suggest you do it through this Video Ninja just because I've never done it, and for all I know, 20 minutes in, it might blow up.
So what are you running the Mumble on?
A Raspberry Pi 4.
Okay. How many gigs of RAM?
4 gigs of RAM, but I've ran it on a 1 gig Pi before.
Okay.
Runs fine.
Okay. I'll see if I can get that.
Yeah, I've had 20. You can have 28 people by default on the default install. I've had 20 people connect to a Raspberry Pi 2 Mumble server. We all opened up our mic, and I looked at the memory usage and processor usage, and it was only like half.
Cool.
Because it's using Opus codec, which is incredibly efficient, is the way I'll put it.
Cool. Yeah, I'd like to try that. I would like to get at least one episode out a week.
I understand.
Which isn't that easy. Still waiting on this
Dude, I'm telling you,
transcript, man.
the hardest thing is consistency. The second hardest thing is longevity. I mean, now if you have other people involved, the hardest thing is scheduling.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, if it's just you, consistency is the hardest thing to do, man. See, I'm doing it wrong. Every week we don't do a show, I should literally record just a 30-second blurb saying things are busy this week. This happened, that happened. We'll be back next week. Thanks, everybody. Bye.
Yeah, something to put in the feed.
And I guarantee you we would still have 80% of us per subscribers we had, 5 years ago or whatever. Which, don't get me wrong, we're still good. We're still, literally, when it comes to Android, like number 3 in every chart I've looked at. But how many Android podcasts do you listen to? Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly. That's why we're number 3.
I don't even listen to this one. What are you talking about?
I understand. All right, man. I'll let you go.
All right, brother. Talk to you later. See you later, Red. Anybody else that's left in there, Swift.
I love you, man. Take it easy.
All right, later.
Okay, I'm going to end this stream so I can get to the editing process. Thank you guys for coming out. Red, Swift, Ed, Eric, not Ed, Eric, Ivor, is it James? Josh and James? Let me see. That's a lot of text, man. Jim and Josh. I'm going to try and remember that. Jim and Josh. Got it. All right. Take it easy, everybody.